It's time for my first dog, the first on the channel and the first in the collection and history. There'll be no unboxing because I probably got this dog for St. Nicholas Day when I was a child. I don't even remember what year exactly it was. But let's first focus on the model itself. I found photos of 3 or 4 different boxes. I've chosen these 2 to compare, and I think we have a situation similar to the horse. But the name of the dog remains unchanged, Snowball. The photo is also the same. We see a Barbie in it. I can't tell which one, it's definitely not a ski-fan Barbie, in an unusual random outfit, and a dog with accessories. Looking at the photo on the left, I guess that it might be the US version. All notes and warnings are visible in big print, typical for the States. Plus, the descriptions are only in English. The dog's name, Snowball, is written on the dog tag. The ski-fan logo is also missing. Do you remember? Snowdance didn't have this logo either. On the right side, we have descriptions in several languages: English, French, and German. Comments are written in smaller print, also in several languages. Next to the Barbie inscription, there is the ski-fan logo, which also appears on the dog's tag. From the European version, we also learn that the dog is a Samoyed breed, although to me it looks more like a white collie at first glance. But after a closer look, I must admit that it has something of a Spitz-like appearance. The year printed on the boxes is 1990, so a year earlier than the horse. I also found a box from the Japanese version. We also have the Barbie genuine logo next to the Mattel's logo. It's a bit strange that they didn't raise the Barbie sign slightly up. I put this photo into Google Translator and look what it produced for me. I don't get this playing without the ball. Snowball, the dog, is Barbie's friend. Snowball loves snow. Barbie goes skiing. When we go away, we are always, I guess, together, which is printed above. On the strange logo, we see skiing fan, not a ski fan. Barbie is a skiing fan. Barbie is very good at skiing. Ken and Mitch also love skiing. On the other hand, there is nothing ski-related in this picture, except for the snow. Okay, but it's also barely visible. This is what my dog's packaging must have looked like. I remember that he was wrapped in a plastic bag with inscriptions saying that the bag was not a toy. And I remember being struck by the amount of pink on both his face, sweater, and the tag. I think that according to Mattel, Snowball is a female, but from my point of view, it sounds more masculine than feminine. So meet Pinky. That's the name I gave him when he came to me. The copy you see was my real toy. I must add that this is probably my most beloved childhood toy, the most important one. As you can see, he didn't lie on the shelf. I took him everywhere I could. And despite such an intensive use, I think he's in quite good condition. Unfortunately, the head has turned yellow, but this is a typical sign of aging for this model. Every specimen that comes into contact with sunlight will sooner or later have a yellow face. There is also a story associated with this yellowing, because I took him everywhere with me to various places. At some point, he got lost. I don't know how it happened. How could I forget about him? But our paths diverged for many years. I was desperate. I had written him off. I was sure I would never see him again. And a dozen or so years ago, he came back to me just like Lassie from the famous novel. It turned out that I left him in my uncle's car, and for years he drove with him on the rear shelf behind the window. I will add that this car was an iconic Polish car, Fiat 126P, called Maluch, which translates as the little one. The sun must have been beating down on him there, which may have made his head yellow even more. My joy that he came back to me was truly enormous. Pinky's body is constructed in such a way that it can be articulated and positioned in various ways. It has a movable body, so you can, for example, lay it down with its hind legs on the side. But due to the huge amount of fur, this is not so easy. All paws are also movable at one point and in one plane. They are plastic, trimmed with fur. Movable legs also allow you to set him in different poses. Due to intensive use, Pinky has very bad joints and it is difficult to make him stand. The head is movable in several planes thanks to the fact that it is mounted on a spherical pin. The fact that before I lost him, his head fell off, the plastic broke, I don't even remember how it happened, proves how intensively he was used as a toy. It didn't interfere much during play because you could hook the broken pin onto the broken spot in the body and the head would stay on. After his return, he was in my country house for some time, where he served as a toy for the children of the next generation. In 2022, he returned to the city for refreshment and retirement. Pinky even has a pink sweater. There should have been more fringes, but unfortunately, with age, they simply fell out and got lost. I emphasize once again that it was my toy, so I'm still glad that this sweater survived. The fur is falling off his neck, even though it was already glued several times. The fur on the head is the most worn and damaged. The sweater is fastened with a Velcro and has stretched a bit over the years. Apart from the sweater, Pinky had other accessories that were lost. It was a large address tag on a silver string that you can see in the photos of the box. I think it had the Skiffan logo on it, as I remember. I didn't like this tag because it was quite large and it didn't look good. And it was on a string, not a collar. He also had an identical bowl with food and bone. This one is borrowed from another dog for presentation purposes. Brush and comb also identical. Not very useful even for play. And that was all the equipment. As a child, I was disappointed that he didn't have a collar and leash in his equipment. I named the dog Pinky because when I took it out of the box, I noticed a huge amount of pink color. I've been learning English since I was a child, so I came up with such a name for him. Pinky is also the name for the little finger, but I didn't know this meaning back then. And it's all about this color, the pink. I love this plastic plush dog very much. I am very happy that he came back to me, completely unexpectedly, after so many years. As I mentioned, I got it for St. Nicholas Day, which is a holiday celebrated in Poland on December the 6th. On this morning, children find gifts from Santa Claus, who leaves them under their pillows. When I was in primary school, we also had a drawing where everyone drew one person from the class and bought him or her a small gift. This way, all children also received a gift at school. As I said, it's hard to put him on all four paws and make him stand. The joints are loose and can't support the weight of his body. This is what his head looked like, along with the broken pin on which it is mounted, after returning from the countryside before washing and bleaching. This is what it looked like after bleaching, but it wasn't bleaching as in the case of the prince, so the effect is minimal. This is what his fur looked like before washing. This is what he looked like after washing. As you can see, the paint on the nose was practically worn off, so I decided to renew it. The effect can be seen in photos taken in the garden in spring. And the sweater, the only accessory I have left. It's time to look at Pinky in his favorite aura, snow. I hope this episode was interesting. I eventually showed you my first dog. Thank you for watching, likes and comments. For those who haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I highly recommend pressing the button. As I mentioned, the Skiffle series is really extensive, so wait patiently for the next part of the story about Barbie's winter madness from the early 1990s.